Oh, I heard this speech not too long ago. It still kind of bothers me to this day, and I'm going to tell you why, because I'm going to tear this speech up. Uh, it still irritates me when I see it on YouTube or wherever everybody posts it, like it's a great speech. And I've seen the comments, and the comments are really irritating. Okay, so I'm going to tear this up for a few minutes. That's coming up.
And now we interrupt, disrupt, and crash this station.
The man fighting for peace, his legacy, truth in a sea of stupid.
Filtered for your sarcastic enjoyment, Ghost Getter.
I've seen the speech come out from Matt Post, and it's really irritating. And not very long ago. And I know it's been a while, and some people are probably going to attack what I'm saying. But, I really don't care. Because it takes common sense. All right? Just a little common sense. First of all, if you claim you're a senior in high school, you're freaking, 17, 18, maybe 19 years old, so you haven't had a whole lot of experience in life. You haven't grown up. You haven't been out on your own. You haven't lived your life. You haven't had a job for, let's say, 5, 10 years. You haven't really experienced anything in life, so what gives you the right to speak for all of us, the majority of this country? You don't. Okay, so you're speaking for a majority of teenagers. Again, speaking for a majority of people that don't have experience in life, that haven't had a job for very long, haven't been out on their own, haven't experienced a whole lot of bad things that happen, serious issues that have happened, things that you don't want to, you can't unsee. You haven't experienced real love. You haven't experienced true happiness. None of this stuff to really look back on and say, of course, you could claim that you do, but you don't. Okay? You could say that, oh, I've been through this and that, but you haven't. Okay? Except for those ones that have truly been bullied. Speaking of Emma Gonzalez, which I do not even bother listening to her talk, because a bully is a bully. And you can't say, well, we made fun of him, we said things about him, we ostracized him, but we really didn't. A bully is a bully, okay? A bully is a bully. You can say whatever you want. A bully is a bully. Okay? I've been bullied. I know how it feels to be attacked by words, be attacked physically. Whatever the case is, I know what it's like. But I didn't go out shooting schools. I never really even thought about it. But the problem is, a bully is a bully. And it's become a bigger problem today than it ever has in the history of man. And we do nothing about this. The government does nothing about this. The local authorities do nothing about this. And the problem gets worse. We do nothing about the mental issues in this country. We do nothing about the problem with kids getting bullied in this country. We look at these bullies and these people like they're queens, and we follow them. They're teenagers. They don't have a whole lot of life behind them to speak and to be following, okay? If you're 40 years old or 50 years old and you're saying, oh, that's the greatest speech I've ever heard in my life, there's something wrong with you. Seriously. There's something seriously wrong with you if you have to rely on someone 18 or 17 years old to change things for your life, okay? There has to be something seriously wrong. So this guy starts speaking in a speech, and I am so irritated by what he says. And I'm going to play this speech first. I want you to hear it. I want you to see it. And I'm going to cut it apart piece by piece. Give it a listen. This is nuts. And keep in mind, as he's talking, look at the people that are behind him. Look at the people surrounding him and think. Use your head. Think of the people that are supporting him. Now, I know there are those out there that are going to say, but I'm a 17-year-old. I've been through this and I've been through that. Of course, there are those out there who have. And I'm not going to say that no teenager in the history of the world nothing has ever happened to them, because I'm sure there has been. You know, I had a gun held to my face in a robbery when I was, 7, 8 years old. walked in on a robbery. So I know there are things that happen. I know there are things that happen with guns. Okay? I know that there are things that you see stuff. But that doesn't mean that you're 18, you're 17 years old. You have not experienced things in your life 40 years down the road and say, well, I know everything. The problem with most teenagers is they think at 17 years old, you think you know everything. You think you've been through everything. You think you've seen everything. You haven't seen everything. You haven't been through everything. I'm telling you. Take it from people that have experienced life. I've been through things when I was a teenager. I've been through things when I was younger as a child. But hey, guess what? Here's a little important statement for you and something you need to look out for. Something that I'm afraid I'm going to have to tell you. You're going to go through a lot worse in the future. You're going to go through a lot worse things, and that's coming up. So you think it's bad now. Guess what's about to happen? Yeah, to you. Think about that. And here's the speech.
My name is Matt Post. I'm a 12th grader, the student member of the board for Montgomery County. And I believe that as students, we need to make a few things clear. To start, we will not sit in classrooms with armed teachers. We refuse to learn in fear. We reject turning our schools into prisons. We will accept nothing less than comprehensive gun control. And if it's what it takes, we will shame our national policymakers into protecting us. Not just in schools, but in churches, movie theaters, on the streets, and in the communities of color, which are disproportionately devastated by the sickness of gun violence. The lawmakers who fail to support us, those who look for every answer to our nation's gun problem, but the guns themselves, will be complicit in every death that comes after. To every politician sitting in Congress, working behind us, you get to decide who lives. And so this is not a partisan issue for us. There's nothing cosmetic about life or death. This is about guns, and it's about our morality as a country. When the commander-in-chief's solution to this country's gun problem is more guns, you know we have a moral problem in this White House. When national policymakers value the blood money of the NRA over the lives of children, you know we have a moral problem in the halls of Congress. And when this is doomed to happen again, when in the coming weeks and months, more of my peers will be slaughtered in their own classrooms, when their deaths will be dismissed as collateral, you know we have a moral problem in this country. So let's make one last thing clear. Their right to own an assault rifle does not outweigh our right to live. Yes. The adults have failed us. This is in our hands now. And if any elected official gets in our way, we will vote them out and replace them ourselves. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Now let me tell you what's so irritating about this speech. Coming from someone who thinks he knows everything. No, I'm just kidding. Now, apparently this kid who is so irritating because he stands up there like he's got all the answers. He knows exactly what to do, how to change that. He's 18 years old? So he thinks, we're going to vote them out. We've been doing that for years and it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. And guess what? The people standing behind you, we've been trying to vote them out for years and they're still there. These are the same people that had the opportunity to change the laws. They didn't. Chuck Schumer. How long has Schumer been in office? He's had the majority of the Congress, the majority of the Senate. He's had an opportunity. Him and his people that run this country had every opportunity for the last 8 years and did nothing. They had every opportunity in the 90s under Bill Clinton, and they did nothing. These are the same people complaining about Trump being racist because of immigration. And yet he says the exact same words as Obama and Clinton. Look the speeches up because they're on YouTube if they haven't taken them down already. The exact same people. And he stands up there as if, there's people behind me. So let's cut up this speech because it is the most, it's just irritating because, I know three things in life. Only three things in life that I've learned. One, there is a God. Two, I don't know squat. And three, because he's shown me both. Okay? That's all you should know. And you could say, God. But guess what? You don't know. Okay? You don't have experience. You're 18 years old. You don't know squat. Okay? You don't know squat. You think you know everything, but you don't. And so, I am 17 years old and I'm an atheist, even though I believed in God 2 years ago, but I don't anymore. Some of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my life coming out of some of these protesters. You can't have somebody that's bullied people getting up there saying, we're being bullied. You can't have somebody up there saying, we can't, make our schools a prison, when you prisonize the teachers by disrespecting them, doing what you want, and threatening them on a constant basis. Because that's what a lot of students do these days. I know. I have a history of knowing teachers. I have a history of teachers in the family that stop being teachers. Why? Because they're not listening anymore. They're not doing what they're told anymore. They're disrespecting the teachers in the system. And then there's this, okay? This beginning of the speech that really irritated me that he claims.
We will not sit in classrooms with armed teachers. We refuse to learn in fear. We reject turning our schools into prisons.
We refuse to live in fear. We refuse to arm teachers because the teachers may turn the guns against us when we threaten them and treat them like dirt and post violence against them. We don't want that to happen. Holy crap. There's so many videos out there. There's so much crap going on the media doesn't show because they refuse to. Of the teachers being threatened. The teachers being bullied. The teachers violently being attacked. And nobody does anything about that. Nobody cares about that. So we're worried about arming teachers. What do you think's going to happen if you arm a teacher? I find it funny that the media didn't talk much about the fact that there was a security guard, armed security, that killed a student before he killed more children that had a gun. That was brought up, a month ago? Not even a month ago? But he took him out. Unlike the one in Florida, when students were being killed, sheriffs are being told not to go in. They were cowardly sat outside while their students were being killed, and not one word was being said about that. Instead, we have the sheriff standing up against NRA. We need to stop the gun violence. We need to protect our students, except for us, who we sat outside and didn't do anything, and we sat around like cowards, and yet you complain about protecting students. Maybe someone needs to take your job and protect the students, because obviously you're not doing it. So how is that not fixing the problem? We don't need to arm the teachers. Have you tried it? Do you think getting rid of guns is going to help? Or more gun laws is going to help? What about the gang members who have guns? What about the ones that carry guns illegally? Do you think that's not going around? Well, you wouldn't know because you're 17 years old and you don't know any better. You haven't experienced it. You haven't been on the street enough. You haven't lived life enough to know who's out there and who isn't. Who's really carrying a gun and who isn't. Who's carrying it illegally and who's carrying it legally. Obviously, you don't know the difference. Well, this guy got a gun legally, and yet he had a mental issue, and no one did anything about that, and we're not protesting that. Because the government doesn't want to face that, because it's too much money. It's too much of a problem. Here's more that just irks me.
We will accept nothing less than comprehensive gun control. And if it's what it takes, we will shame our national policymakers into protecting us. Not just in schools, but in churches, movie theaters, on the streets, and in the communities of color, which are disproportionately devastated by the sickness of gun violence.
Shame them? Shame them? Really? There have been people, generations, that have been trying to shame politicians for years. But guess what? Guess what you don't know? Because you're 17. They've been shaming you for years. They've been shaming us for years. No one's ever done anything about that. These people that are causing the problem are standing right behind you. These are the people that have been lying to you. These are the people like Schumer and Pelosi and all these people that have been acting as if you're the dumbest person on the planet. Oh, these people don't know any better. We're going to take all their guns away. That's one issue. Second issue that bothers me about what you just said. In the churches, in the schools, businesses, we're going to shame them. You've been doing that for years. Guess what? You can't shut up in the churches. You can't shut up in the schools. You can't shut up in society. You've been doing nothing but causing problems for years. And guess what? People are not listening to you because you're not doing it right. This is irritating. It's irritating. And the third issue that you just blindly are just blabbing about, the gun violence in the communities of color, they're not owning guns legally. Their violence in communities of different races, all races. There's gun violence in white communities. There's gun violence in black communities. There's gun violence in Hispanic communities. Guess what? There's gun violence everywhere. The problem isn't people that stricter gun laws for people. The problem is there are people out there that own guns illegally. Don't you get it? Illegally. They didn't get these guns by walking into the shop next door. This is the problem of you being 17. You don't know any better. You haven't done your research. You're too busy listening to the jackasses behind you. Really? So you think everybody in every neighborhood, black or white, owns guns illegally or legally? You think all of them own guns by walking into the corner store at 7-Eleven? Give me that gun. You have to pass a background check. Only take about 5 minutes. This is what you're thinking in your brain. That Walmart carries these guns. I haven't seen Walmart carry anything beyond a rifle and a shotgun in years. But yet everybody thinks, oh, Kroger's is banning assault weapons in their stores. I didn't know Kroger's even sold guns. I've never seen a gun in Kroger's in my lifetime. Have you? But yet they're going for it. Are you that stupid? Do you think the Crips or the Bloods or any of these gang members walked into a place and said, you know what? I'm going to go down here to the local Target and I'm going to buy me a 12 gauge. I'm not hunting rabbits. I'm going to kill other people. And they didn't get these guns legally. I'm almost positive. Guess what? You know the reason why they don't? Because you can't pass a background check when you have a felony conviction. And I'm sure a lot of these people have already been convicted. People, not just black, white, Hispanic, any race, anyone that has a felony conviction can't buy a gun from Walmart or anywhere else. So where do they obtain these guns? They do it illegally. How did this happen? Because he bought it and he had a mental issue. Mentally, he had a problem. There's nothing been done about people's mental issues. There are people walking on the street that are schizophrenia, that have visions, that have all kinds of issues, that are walking on the street that are a threat to society. We kick them out of hospitals every day and we do nothing about it. We do nothing about medicating these people. We do nothing about helping our veterans that have been through such crazy, outrageous things in wars. We do nothing about them. The VA is shot. Obama didn't fix that problem. Only to save his reputation. He may look into it. But we don't want to do anything about that. We want to go against people that are, what's funny was, and I don't want to bring up Emma Gonzalez because she is not, I don't even listen to her. I don't even bother because she's a bully, and I don't even listen to people like that. And the nerve to stand up there, well, I'm going to talk my breaking points, my points against the spokesperson of the NRA. Let me see. What was the question that CNN gave me to ask? Try doing it without having a speech in your hand. I don't trust you and I don't believe you. That's my problem. And here's the next jackass, jacktard thing that he said.
The lawmakers who fail to support us, those who look for every answer to our nation's gun problem, but the guns themselves, will be complicit in every death that comes after. To every politician sitting in Congress, working behind us, you get to decide who lives.
Every lawmaker that fails to support us, they're standing right behind you. They're out there behind him going, yeah. Really? He's talking about me? I don't think he's talking about me. Yeah. And then that thing, the biggest thing that really got me was he saying, you get to decide who lives. No, they don't. That's the problem. They think they get to decide who lives and who dies. They don't. You don't. You don't get to decide who lives. God gets to decide who lives. I get to decide who lives in my life. Not you. Not him behind me. No one gets to decide who lives. If that's the case, why don't we do anything about abortion? We're not standing up protesting that, and thousands of kids are getting killed every year. 10, 20, 100 times more than children in high schools and elementary and junior high schools being killed by guns. But we do nothing about that. Well, they're not human until they're born. Really? Then how come these same lawmakers behind you, the jackasses, say that, oh, if you kill a woman that's pregnant, you get charged for 2 murders if the child is not human yet? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And no one gets to decide who lives. No one. That hurts me. That's the biggest part of that speech that bothered me, is when he said that. That doesn't make sense. Those who look for every answer to the gun problem but the guns themselves. That's a dumb thing to say. That's like saying, well, the gun got up one day and said, you know what? I'm going to go into a high school and kill 20 people. The gun didn't do it. The person did it. So you're saying the guns are the problem? The guns are the ones that kill people? Are you that? Is your brain actually a brain, or is it just a pound of cookie dough? Because that didn't make sense.
When national policymakers value the blood money of the NRA over the lives of children, you know we have a moral problem in the halls of Congress. And when this is doomed to happen again, when in the coming weeks and months, more of my peers will be slaughtered in their own classrooms, when their deaths will be dismissed as collateral, you know we have a moral problem in this country. So let's make one last thing clear. Their right to own an assault rifle does not outweigh our right to live. Yes. The adults have failed us. This is in our hands now. And if any elected official gets in our way, we will vote them out and replace them ourselves. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Moral problem in this country. The guys behind you passed abortion. They allowed it. You're talking about morality. Thousands of your peers and your students are going to be killed in the coming months. Thousands are killed every day. Every week from abortions. People being left on the street to die. People left in the hospitals to die. No one does. When's the last time you helped a homeless person? When's the last time you protested and said no more in abortion clinics? When's the last time you went against Chuck Schumer behind you instead of standing up? Well, the White House needs to have morals. The White House hasn't had morals in the last administration. And so on and so on and so on. Hasn't done anything before. The problem still exists. And you have the guts to stand up there and talk about morality. You need to understand the definition of morality. When it's okay to have one of your peers or your students standing up protesting against guns and stop the violence in schools, that bullies other kids. You have some nerve to stand up there and talk. Buddy, you don't know squat. You don't know squat. Grow up, get some experience in life, and then maybe you can talk. But until then, we're going to keep voting for whoever we want to, not whoever you want to. And whoever decides to live is going to be made by us, not you and not your buddy Chuck Schumer and the rest of those liberal hacks standing behind you. And by the way, I have a question. For those thousands of students that are standing out there protesting, how many of them have had sex without marriage? How many of them have committed violence against one another? How many of them have bullied somebody in school? How many of them refuse to listen to teachers, refuse to listen to police officers, refuse to listen to the government, refuse to follow rules that you're complaining about? How many people have actually respected the law? How many people are standing out there protesting have had abortions that are complaining, oh, we need to stop the violence or kids are being killed in school? You know, how many of you have had abortions out of the thousands protesting? You get, oh, we're doing something good. We're doing something good. Some of you are not telling the truth. Maybe all of you are not telling the truth. But I know all of you can't stand up there and saying, we're living a Christ-like life. None of you are. So don't stand up there and act like we need to stand up and make change for the better because we're innocent and we do nothing wrong and we need to save the black and the Hispanic communities because there's too much violence in them. Really? When's the last time you were in Compton? When's the last time you were in East L.A.? When's the last time you stood in Brooklyn in the dead of night? I dare you. So don't stand up there and act like you're innocent and things need to change for the better in our schools. And this is the major problem that's going on right now. You make it the major problem going on right now. There are wars in this country we're not doing anything about. There's violence on the street. There's rapes being going on, and women are being ignored about that. What did you do? I don't see you standing up there and protesting that. I don't see you doing anything about that. The horrible, vicious things that are being done around the world. There are white farmers in Africa that are being slaughtered, and no one's saying a word. And their farms are being taken away. Are you saying they all did something wrong? Boy, you are some kind of stupid. I appreciate everybody paying attention and watching the show. Please like, share, and subscribe. The nightbreedshow.wix.com/GhostGetter. That's the website. Reverse 96 FM, 24 hours a day. Radio station. You can find it. Google it. Reverse 96 FM. You can find it on TuneIn, Streama. You can find it anywhere. I'm on Facebook. You can see that at the bottom of the screen as well. Twitter and everywhere else. And I appreciate everybody. Donate. Keep the station going. Help us out. Do whatever you can. Like, share, and subscribe. Always helps. Definitely subscribe. Till next time, I appreciate everybody watching. See ya.